Hi everyone, I'm Wanda, 28 years old, and I'm so happy you're here. I really enjoy playing Minecraft to relax and reading Reddit stories. So let's get comfortable and jump right into today's story. Hey Reddit, I'm 28 female, and I'm still trying to process what might be the most psychologically devastating betrayal I've ever experienced. This happened 5 months ago, but I'm still unraveling the layers of lies and wondering if I'm losing my mind. I keep questioning everything I thought I knew about love, trust, and basic human decency. So here's the setup. I was dating someone I'll call Derek, 32 male, for about 8 months. He worked as a military contractor, which I thought explained his sometimes secretive nature and irregular schedule. Derek was charming, intelligent, and seemed genuinely interested in building something real with me. He talked about our future together, made plans months in advance, and even mentioned marriage as something stupid people rush into. But maybe our long-term goal. I'm not someone who falls easily. I've been burned before by guys who turned out to be commitment phobic or just looking for something casual. But Derek felt different. He introduced me to his hobbies, shared personal stories about his childhood, and made me feel like I was seeing the real him. We had deep conversations about everything from philosophy to what we wanted in life. He seemed emotionally available in ways that my previous relationships had lacked. Red flags. In hindsight, sure, he was oddly secretive about some aspects of his life. His phone was always face down. He never posted about us on social media, which he said was for operational security reasons. And there was this weird thing where he'd sometimes get texts late at night and claim it was work stuff from different time zones. But here's the thing about manipulation. It works because it's subtle. When someone is slowly conditioning you to accept their lies, you don't notice it happening. You make excuses because you want to believe in them. Last summer, everything changed overnight. Derek suddenly announced he was moving to Arizona for a contract opportunity. This wasn't a gradual transition or something we discussed. It was a "I leave in 2 weeks" situation that left me reeling. It's temporary, he assured me over dinner at our favorite Italian place. 6 months, maybe a year max. We can make long distance work. I know it's not ideal, but this opportunity is too good to pass up. I supported him because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You make sacrifices. You adapt. You trust that they have both of your best interests at heart. The long-distance phase was brutal. Phone calls became shorter and less frequent. Video calls were always interrupted by work emergencies. He seemed distracted, distant, like his mind was somewhere else, even when we were talking. When I'd bring up visiting him, there was always some excuse. The base housing situation was complicated, or he was going to be traveling for work, or it just wasn't a good time. "I miss you," I'd tell him during our increasingly rare conversations. I miss you too, babe. This distance is hard on both of us, but we're strong enough to handle it. Except it didn't feel like we were handling it. It felt like I was the only one trying to maintain our connection while he slowly faded away. The Discord server thing started innocuously. Derek was a gamer, and he'd invited me to join his server where he hung out with friends. It was mostly military guys and a few civilians, all playing various games and shooting the shit about work and life. I liked being included in that part of his world. It made the distance feel less isolating. But there was this one user, Jellybean47, who seemed to know Derek really well. Too well. She'd make inside jokes that went back years. She knew details about his preferences, his habits, his stories that he'd told me like they were special memories we shared. When they'd play games together, there was an easy familiarity that made my stomach twist with something I couldn't quite name. "Who's Jellybean47?" I asked during one of our calls. "Oh, that's just Jelly. She's an old friend from way back. We served together before I went contractor. She's cool. You'd like her. Old friend. Served together. Nothing romantic, just professional history." I wanted to believe him, so I did, but I started paying attention. Jelly was online at weird hours, the same weird hours Derek claimed he was working. They'd disappear from the server at the same times. And there was this casual intimacy in their interactions that felt more like, well, like how Derek and I used to talk before the distance. One evening, I was lurking in the Discord. I know, but something felt off when I saw them in a voice channel together at 2 a.m. Arizona time. Just the two of them in a private room, talking and laughing for hours. When I asked Derek about it the next day, he said they were working on a project together. What kind of project? Just some administrative stuff. You know how military bureaucracy is. Everything takes forever and has to be done at weird hours. The lies were so smooth, so practiced. And I was so desperate to trust him that I swallowed every single one. The breaking point came when I decided to do some innocent Facebook stalking. I found Jelly's profile partially public and started scrolling through her photos. Most were typical military life stuff, group photos, deployment pictures, family gatherings, but there were photos with Derek. Lots of photos with Derek. Photos that went back years, showing them at parties, on trips, at family events. And then I found the post that made my blood run cold. From September 2022, I'm happy that I had an opportunity to live and love fullest with my best friend. September 2022. 3 months before Derek and I started dating. That Facebook post sent me down a rabbit hole that I wish I'd never entered, but couldn't stop digging. Live and love fullest with my best friend. That's not how you talk about a coworker or casual friend. That's relationship language. That's goodbye a marriage language. I started piecing together a timeline using social media, public records, and some light cyberstalking that I'm not proud of, desperately needed for my sanity. Derek and Jelly had been married for 7 years. 7 years. Their wedding photos were still buried in her Facebook albums. A beautiful military ceremony where she looked radiant in white, and he looked like the happiest man alive. Photos of anniversaries, deployments where they'd video call each other, family holidays where they were clearly the established couple. The divorce papers were filed in early 2022, standard no-fault divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The Facebook post from September was clearly her processing the end of their marriage with what seemed like genuine sadness, but also acceptance. Here's where it gets twisted. They were married in March 2023. March 2023. Derek and I started dating in December 2022, which means that while he was telling me about his hopes for our future, while he was sleeping in my bed and meeting my friends and talking about maybe moving in together, he was also reconciling with his ex-wife and planning to marry her again. I found their second marriage certificate through public records. Same names, same people, but this time it was a simple courthouse ceremony. No fanfare, no social media announcements, just two people quietly putting their relationship back together. And I found the property records showing they'd purchased a house together in Arizona in April 2023. Joint ownership, survivorship rights, the whole domestic partnership package, while Derek was telling me that his temporary work assignment was keeping us apart. He was actually building a life with someone else. The Discord evidence was devastating. Once I knew what to look for. Jelly and Derek weren't just friends hanging out online. They were coordinating their real life. Messages about grocery shopping, bill paying, whose turn it was to do laundry, casual mentions of shared meals, inside jokes about their neighbors, complaints about their internet service. They were living together. They'd been living together the entire time. I thought we were doing long distance, but here's the part that still keeps me awake at night. I think Jelly knew about me. Remember that weird night when I thought I saw someone waiting outside Derek's place until I left? I now believe that was Jelly, waiting for me to leave so she could come home. Her own home. The home she shared with her husband. I found a Discord message thread where Jelly mentioned Dee's friend needing to understand boundaries. At the time, I thought maybe Derek had told his friends about our relationship and they were being protective. Now I realize she was probably talking about me, and the boundaries were about not interfering in their marriage. The most gut-wrenching evidence came from scrolling back through years of Discord logs. Derek and Jelly had maintained their online friendship even through their divorce. Their messages from 2022 showed two people working through relationship problems, taking space, but clearly still caring about each other. By late 2022, the tone shifted to reconciliation. By early 2023, they were talking like a couple again. While Derek was telling me he loved me, he was rebuilding his marriage to someone else. Armed with all this evidence, I decided to confront Derek directly. I spent hours crafting what I thought was a reasonable, non-accusatory message asking for honesty about his situation with Jelly. I told him I'd found some confusing information and just wanted clarity so we could move forward together. His response was a masterclass in gaslighting. "Babe, I think you've been spending too much time online and getting paranoid. Jelly and I have a complicated history, but we're not together. Those property documents are probably outdated. You know how slow government systems are to update. I care about you too much to let some paperwork confusion ruin what we have." But I pressed. I told him about the timeline, about the remarriage certificate, about the house purchase. I asked him to just be honest with me because I deserved that much. That's when his tone changed completely. "Look, I don't know what you think you've discovered, but you're making assumptions about things you don't understand. My relationship with Jelly is complicated, but it's not what you think. We're not together romantically. Sometimes people maintain legal arrangements for practical reasons, benefits, insurance, tax stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Derek, you remarried her while we were dating. That's not a legal arrangement. That's a marriage. I think you need to take some time to cool down. You're not thinking clearly." I sent him screenshots, marriage certificates, property records, Discord logs that showed domestic coordination between them. Evidence that painted a clear picture of a man living a double life. His response: "I can't deal with this level of paranoia and invasion of privacy right now. I need some space to think." After 8 months of what I thought was a committed relationship, after I'd supported his career move and endured months of long distance, after I'd trusted him completely, he needed space to think about whether he wanted to explain why he'd been lying to me about being married. 2 days later, I sent him a long, heartbroken message. I poured out my confusion, my hurt, my genuine love for him despite everything. I told him that I just wanted honesty, that we could work through whatever was happening if he'd just talk to me. I said I understood that relationships were complicated, that people made mistakes, but that I deserved to know the truth about where I stood in his life. His response was 2 words: "Well, thank you." Well, thank you, like I just thanked him for holding a door open, not bared my soul, and asked for basic human decency. 30 minutes later, I was blocked on everything: Discord, Facebook, Instagram, phone number, complete digital exile. No explanation, no conversation, no closure, just erasure. I sat in my apartment staring at my phone, trying to process what had just happened. 8 months of my life, 8 months of planning a future with someone, 8 months of love and trust and vulnerability, dismissed with "well, thank you," and then complete silence. The cruelest part was how cleanly he did it. No dramatic confrontation, no angry words, no messy emotional scene. Just cold, efficient disposal of a problem that had gotten too complicated to manage. 5 months later, I'm still trying to make sense of it all. The practical questions have been answered. Derek was married the entire time we dated, living with his wife while maintaining a long-distance relationship with me. And when I got too close to the truth, he discarded me like I'd never mattered at all. But the psychological questions are harder. How do you reconcile loving someone who was living a completely fabricated life? How do you trust your own judgment when you were so thoroughly deceived? How do you move forward when someone you cared about turned out to be a complete stranger? The hardest part is knowing that Derek and Jelly are probably living happily right now. I can picture them at their house in Arizona, working at the same military base, playing games with their friends, completely untroubled by the collateral damage of their choices. Derek's Discord friends still see him as a good guy, a loyal friend, someone worthy of respect and trust. His professional reputation is intact. His marriage is solid. I, meanwhile, am left questioning everything I thought I knew about love and honesty and basic human decency. Sometimes I wonder if Jelly knew the whole time. Did she know her husband was maintaining an emotional and physical relationship with someone else while they were reconciling? Was I just a temporary distraction while they figured their marriage out? Or was she as deceived as I was? The worst part is that I'll probably never know. The people who could answer my questions have made it clear that I don't matter enough to deserve answers. I've been in therapy trying to process this. My therapist says that some people are capable of compartmentalizing their lives so completely that they can genuinely care about multiple people while lying to all of them. Derek might have actually believed he cared about me while simultaneously rebuilding his marriage. The lies weren't necessarily malicious. They were just the tools he used to manage competing priorities. But understanding the psychology doesn't make it hurt less. I keep thinking about reaching out to Jelly. I know her Discord username, though I'm blocked from Derek's server. I've found her professional email through LinkedIn. I've drafted a dozen messages explaining who I am and asking if we could talk, but I never send them. What would I even say? Hi, I think I was unknowingly the other woman in your marriage, and I'm wondering if you knew about it. There's no version of that conversation that doesn't cause more pain for everyone involved. Maybe Jelly was as deceived as I was. Maybe she thought Derek was traveling for work while he was actually with me. Maybe their reconciliation was built on the same lies mine was. Or maybe she knew exactly what was happening and decided her marriage was worth preserving regardless of who got hurt in the process. I'll probably never know which version is true, and I'm starting to accept that not knowing might be better than finding out. Update: 5 months later. I'm doing better slowly. I've learned to trust my instincts again, to recognize red flags I ignored before. I've started dating someone new, someone whose life is completely transparent, whose phone is never face down, who introduces me to everyone important to him. I still think about Derek and Jelly sometimes, not with love anymore, but with a kind of sad curiosity about how people can hurt others so casually. I hope they're happy together. I hope their marriage is built on honesty now, and I hope they never do to anyone else what they did to me. Edit. Thank you for all the supportive messages. No, I won't be contacting Jelly. You're right that it would only cause more pain and wouldn't give me the closure I'm looking for. Edit 2. For everyone asking, yes, I've been tested for STDs, all clear. Yes, I've documented everything in case I need it later. And no, I don't regret investigating. I needed to know the truth for my own sanity.